till I'm on top.
Yo,
Yeah.
no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want.
Hey guys, Coach Dan here. I'm a exercise and sports science degree holder. I have been a personal trainer and coach for over 10 years now, and I've been training gyms for 20 plus years. And today I'm going to go through my last workout of the week, which is a pull workout. I'm going to show you what I do, how I do it, and why I do it, and give you tips along the way so that you have the knowledge and the skills to kind of take that into your own training and make it as good as possible. So as I said, this is the last workout of the week. Been a great week worth of training yesterday. Lower body's got me all jacked up, hamstrings a bit sore, everything's a bit sore. And just generally this week, execution has been great. The performance has not been exceptional necessarily. Just really happy with how this week's gone and want to continue that on and finish the week strong and then hopefully take this momentum into next week. So fat loss phase week 4 we're capping that off with this final workout. So this is, as I said, a pull workout. And with every workout that I involve my lateral delts at the moment, I start the workout with the lateral delts. They're a priority for me at the moment. We're prioritizing lateral delts, back, arms as well. So any workout where I have lateral delts, we're prioritizing them by putting them first in the workout. So we're going to start with a single arm cable lateral raise. I've got a cuff here. I've got this height, this cable height, set at about hand height or wrist height if I was standing here. So what happens with a cable machine like this, it's going to be most difficult at the beginning if we set it at this height such that your arm is essentially being pulled directly in this way at the beginning. But as we start to go through this range of motion, it starts not to be pulled directly against the cable but go up. So it gets somewhat easier as you go. So we clip our cuff in. For me personally, I've been turning away about 45 degrees with the machine. So my arm is being pulled into me and we get that lateral delt stretch into a different position. And then we're raising out directly against where that is set. So it's across the body, kind of into the body a little bit, and that's my variation for the time being. I would have no issue if this went across like this. Behind the back is a variation here as well. But for me, this one feels really good. I do think if we're kind of getting into too much of this kind of position here, there is a potential to stretch out the posterior delt. So I think coming into me makes a lot of sense and it has felt really effective. All right, let's rip into it. So we've got 5 sets here. This is a pull workout, but we start with the lateral delts because they're a priority. So when we have the most energy, we can put it into this. And then we got some beautiful big back movements. Let's get it. Oh yeah. Okay, lateral delts done. So For this particular workout, this is a pull workout. Traditionally, lateral delts wouldn't go in a pull workout. For me, they would go in a push workout, but trying to get that extra volume in, we're putting it in here. And I've had 2 days rest since my push workout, and I'll have 2 days rest from this workout. So that will be my only lateral delt exercise. And so far the recovery's been okay. That particular exercise is very effective. So it's kind of coming into you, we're coming away. We've got this just different position that we're stretching our shoulder into essentially. And it feels really good. You could, go across the body. But again, priority, we're giving it at the beginning. It gets all the work up front. So now we shift into the back stuff. We're going to start with the upper back, or movements biased towards the upper back. This is an area that I feel I need the most work in. I just don't feel I can get it to work very well as far as a mind to muscle connection. Now, mind to muscle connection may not be All right, next up, another chest supported row variation for the upper back. Definitely the big work on for me is upper back, the feeling of essentially squeezing my shoulder blades, contracting like the lower traps and the traps. Just don't get a lot of sensation there. Lats, we've come a long way, and everything else is pretty good. But yeah, upper back, I reckon there's big room for improvement there, which is cool. So next we go on to my neutral grip chest supported row variation. I do a funky thing with this where I kind of lean forward directly onto it. The idea is similar to what we're discussing, is that my lower traps appear to have absolutely nothing. So if I lean forward, I kind of line this up a little bit better with those lower traps so I can focus on them a little bit more. So a bit alternative way to use it, but feels effective. I think we're getting at what we're after there. So as always, we have our straps. I'm not sure if I'm going to use these straps or my other ones. Strap in, sit back with it, arse all the way to the back of the bench like you're humping it. Shoulders come forward, squeeze. Now I'm going to go to all a moderate to high-ish rep range on these, and even pause in that shortened position, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So the thing I was thinking there when doing the T-bar rows, like when you go and improve your form and you make sure you are biasing a particular muscle and that muscle is going towards failure, sometimes it leads to you lifting less weight. But again, after that reset, the idea is to then progress with that new weight. So it kind of looks, if you log your stuff pretty tightly, kind of looks as if you're not improving, but you're actually resetting such that you can improve long term for that particular muscle group. So all right, with that all said, also the last logged weight I have of this might be a bit different because I have got a different focus at the moment, so we'll take a couple of warm-up sets to find that. All right, upper back done. Same machine, different exercise. So now we're going to go single arm, plate loaded row. where we keep the arm close to the body. Quick little note on the upper back training. It is improving, but yeah, that idea of really getting that squeeze in the shoulder blades we're working on. So there's hope. It feels good. Even since having focused on it a little bit more, it's getting better. So if we can't, yeah, we just keep trying to get a little bit better with that. Yeah, like I said, there's hope. I have some sensations, but it's just not what other muscle groups are. So I'm looking to see if I can improve that. And yeah, that lower portion particularly seems like a bit of a gap in general for me. Anyway, so if those two movements, T-bar chest supported row and that neutral grip, yeah, chest supported plate loaded row where we go away from the body, this machine naturally diverges. So it goes away. Well, not naturally, they made it that way. It goes like this, right? Now, if you think about your lat, where it attaches on the front of your arm and then wraps under your armpit and heads in towards your thoracic spine and down towards your pelvis, it is best suited to take your arm in to those positions and down when we go to our lower lat exercise. So if we were to do this just front on, I'm not super wide, my arm's going like that. So to continue that movement, we get this movement of the shoulder, and your upper back has the potential to get involved. Not that the lat won't work, but the upper back starts to pull the shoulder around. We now want to bias our movements towards the lats. So we want to keep it close. So if this machine naturally diverges, I'm essentially turning off to the side, lining up with it such that it stays close, right? So instead of just, letting it go away from my body, I'm setting myself to the side so it stays nice and close. So same idea, we've got these straps here. We're off to the side of this chest supported row. No, I won't use those just yet. We're here and we're driving the elbow back, lining up with it such that it finishes nice and close to my body. So this movement, this is for the upper portion of the lat. We're thinking horizontal, the thoracic portion, where my arm goes back and around into that position. Later on, we have a pull down, and that will be for the lower lat, where we take that arm and we essentially pretend we're putting it in our back pocket or a pelvis, and that will hopefully bias towards the lower lat. So we got one movement for each to make sure we're ticking those boxes in case they are biased by different movements. All right, that'll do. Let's keep marching on. All right, next up we have the pull down for the lower lat. So if you think about that single arm row and you break the lats up, we either have potentially upper lats or thoracic lats or lower lats or iliac lats that go kind of into the pelvis. So they'll attach at the front of your arm, they'll go under your armpit, around your ribs and down into your spine, and then all the way down towards the pelvis. So if we think about a movement coming this way, we're potentially more biasing it towards the upper lat because that's the direction in which we're pulling the arm. Then we go above and then we pull down to focus on the lower lat. So I do 2 lat movements just to make sure, again, if they can be biased, I don't think that's conclusive yet. If they can be biased, we're ticking all the boxes essentially. So we're gonna go with the neutral mag grips. So the mag grips, the funky grips where you wrap the ribs, the fingers over. You can go neutral if we're thinking pull downs for the lower lats, ultimately we're probably thinking some sort of narrow-ish grip such that it's not going too much outside shoulder width. So it could be reverse, could be overhand, could be neutral, narrow neutral, all these kinds of things, pulling down and into the pocket, not so much up and away. For our upper back movements, we wanted it up and away, so like the sensation of the arms coming around and squeezing together is what we wanted. Now we want them tight in to the lats. So I've got this set nice and low, so I'm locked in when I get down there. Grab, tuck under, find that sweet spot, big stretch, drive the arms down. So I'm not fully certain about where I want to kind of lean here, so I'm going to rely on some video footage from today and see kind of where I want to put my body such that we're lined up with those lower laps really well. So obviously we don't want to lean all the way back, but potentially being all the way up here as well is not perfect. I like getting here for a big stretch through the lat, but then want to kind of lean back such that I kind of angle the arm in towards that lower lat area. All right, also have to figure out the weight. And yeah, last back exercise. That's good. So I've inclined myself to something I found comfortable, and when my arm path goes, it feels like I'm working my rear delt really well. So I'll slot one hand to this cable, reach over, slot hand to this cable, slide down, and then we're ready to go. So using the rear delt, pulling my arm across, stretch nice and far across the body, as far as the cable machine will allow. And then we pull our arm back with our rear delt. So this would be my second time doing this only, so I'm still figuring it out a little bit myself, positioning and stuff like that, but time number one, which was 2 weeks ago because I was away last week, was very good. So we'll keep doing it, we'll build it up, we'll build up our strength, see if there's any little tweaks we can make along the way, and then go from there. Now potentially I'm going to do a bicep superset with this, which is going to be a preacher curl if the availability comes open. So we'll see here in a second, but yeah, I don't know what incline lying rear delt cable fly or some sort of mouthful I'd call this. Give it a go. Okay, preacher curl has become open, so we've got the cable here, we've got the preacher curl here with the easy bar. Easy bar has always been a nice comfortable grip for me, but straight bar, dumbbells, whatever feels best for you. So we're essentially going to do this in superset because we got 5 sets to do, and they don't affect each other too much. I'm going to essentially do a set of curls. You know, maybe jot my reps down on my phone, walk over here, do a set of rear delt flies and kind of move back and forth between the two. We save time, and yeah, we get that extra work in a shorter period of time. These two shouldn't affect each other too much, so that's pretty good. So with the preacher curl, I'm going to reach up, get my grip, sit back with it, and then curl, control the way down, curl. Bada bing, bada boom. So a potential downside theoretically to the preacher curl is that we have the arm in this position, which already pre-shortens the bicep. So if you think about the bicep, it's both an elbow flexor and a shoulder flexor. So if we flex the shoulder already in this kind of position here, essentially we've already shortened it, so we might be reducing the stretch. However, we're potentially increasing the difficulty because we go up against gravity sooner. So we've got the arm in this position and it goes up against gravity sooner than, say, a standard curl or an incline curl or any of that kind of stuff. So although we have a potentially shortened bicep, we have it harder in its stretched position, so it starts to become harder. And it shows up in a little bit of research that doing things like incline dumbbell curls versus preacher curls potentially work different regions of the bicep. So you tick both boxes, and you could do a machine preacher curl. We don't have one of those here. You could do dumbbell preacher curl, any of these kinds of things. But yeah, potentially there's some regional differences between having your arm here and having it behind here, which would be, you would think this would be more effective in that pre-stretched position in that kind of curling format. But studies are a bit inconclusive. They kind of go both ways. And yeah, potentially some regional benefits of doing both to different regions. All right, let's go. So yeah, 5 sets here. We'll be here a little while, but where would you rather be? All right, that's a wrap on the workout, guys. What a week of training that was. Big focus last week and this week has been execution. I wouldn't say my technique is bad, but having an internal focus or a mind and muscle connection this week has really made a big difference. So if we think about that preacher curl we've just done, we're not just thinking about pulling the weight up, we're thinking about the muscle that we're trying to work and it pulling the weight up and it letting the weight off, right? It's doing the concentric or the up phase and the lowering phase, the eccentric. And that goes for all movements. And if you focus on that, potentially the weight will come down, what it definitely has for me. But by the end, you feel the stimulus where it's supposed to be. And I'd argue that having that lower weight in some circumstance might be a better thing. Less stress on your joints, but you're getting equal or more stimulus. That's a good thing. You could cheat, you could swing around, but I just think, why would you do that other than ego potentially? You get your form really tidy, you make sure the execution is correct, and the weight will go up. But we want to make sure all the weight that we are lifting is for a purpose and not just kind of like, extra weight for ego or whatever it might be, especially if your goal is building muscle. If your goal is strength, like lifting heavier weights is important. If your goal is muscle building, lifting heavy weights is important, but with that technique, right? Been great. Like all workouts this week, this might have been the best week of training I can remember. And a big part of it, I think, is that, or it could just be stars aligning. It could be just coincidence, but focusing on execution. You can still go really hard and go close to failure, but even as you're going close to failure, it's keeping what we want to be the worker working, not just like reefing it up, and looks more hardcore to swing around and stuff like that. But for me, not about that. It's about
isolating the muscle, making sure it is a limiting factor on the movement that you're trying to train it with, and other muscles might assist, but they're certainly not doing the big portion of the job. All right, that caps off week 4 of this fat loss phase. Haven't really set a timeline for this. I just want to get, 5 to 10% of more body weight off, or hopefully as much fat as possible. And then, open up next year. This is 2025. Open up next year for 8 to 10 months of slow muscle gain, performance increase, muscle increase, and trying to accumulate as little fat as possible. And then we do it all over. So, great week. Let's see if we can't replicate that next week. As always, guys, if you're liking the content, really would appreciate if you hit the little subscribe up here. If you want to see how I'm training other muscle groups, hit this video playlist up here. If you want to see some shorts or some little exercise tips and tricks, hit this playlist here. And as always, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.